Hey, witches! Chelle and I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to our amazing benefactors for supporting Back on the Broomstick. And to share that gratitude, we are thrilled to announce another drawing where two lucky benefactors will each win a personal tarot reading from myself and Chelle. The drawing will be held on Litha, June 20th. If you'd like to become a benefactor, click on the Support the Show link in the show description, or visit backonthebroomstick.com and click on Support the Show. Again, thank you for being benefactors. Your support makes our show and the magic possible. Keep it witchy.
It's witchcraft.
Hi, and welcome to the Solarium, Chelle and Layla's herb-filled sunlit sanctuary, where we put our basomes down, our cursing fingers away, and settle in with some books, a nice smoke, and maybe a cup of tea. And today, we have 4 lovely books all about herbal magic. Getting ready to dive into them, I'm Layla.
And I'm Chelle, and I'm excited. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because this is supposed to be our herb-filled garden, and we're talking about herbs today. And we got some kick-ass books we're talking about today. So if you are into herbs or if you are into plants, cuddle up, cozy up, grab some tea, grab a little pipe of some smokable delights. And yeah, because we got some good info for you today, folks.
We definitely do. And as everyone knows, Chelle and I are both very much fans of herbs, dried herbs, smokable herbs, fresh herbs. I like to garden and have lots of houseplants, whereas Chelle is
likes
well
to
known
buy them at the store
and kill them if she keeps them for very long. Famously known only to be able to keep alive kids and cats.
Kids and cats. I don't know how many episodes I've said that since our inception, but I only have the capability of kids and cats. And I just want to say our first book we're going to talk about today is Houseplant HortOCCULTure by
Why did you emphasize the horror part instead of the occult part?
Because I was trying to emphasize the occult part, but something about that Gen Xer in me just somehow emphasized the horror part. Sorry,
there you go. Sorry, Devin. But the book is fantastic. I absolutely love it. As a lover of houseplants, I was super excited to dive into this book. It's very new by Devin Hunter, and I
have
love
one
it.
comment that I need to start this off with. So,
What's that?
Going back to the whole can only keep kids and cats alive. I start reading this book and I don't know, there was a comment in here somewhere and it said something about even if you weren't a plant person, he would teach you how to grow plants and keep them alive. Is this Devin Hunter looking me in the face and saying, hold my beer, I'm going to make her make it live?
He is. He's challenging you. Now, the other books that we'll be going over are Herbal Magick by Gerina Dunwich, the Magical Herb Compendium by Aurora, and
Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, which is fabulous,
by none other than Amy Blackthorn.
I'm just excited for today.
These are excellent books. One of them I wasn't too thrilled with, but still had a lot of information.
We'll get there, because unfortunately I agree with you. So let's just say we've got 4 reviews for you folks today, and we got 3 broom-worthy books for you today.
Absolutely. And before we dive into the books, how about let's go with the herbs that you and I are both enjoying at the moment. What you smoking, Chelle?
Okay. So this is me complaining about the weed stores again. Planet of the Grapes doesn't taste like grapes, folks.
Yes.
It smells like it, though. I'll give it that. This batch actually smells like it, but definitely not grape tasting. They're fooling me again.
See, now I'm smoking some cherry gelato. As you know, I love the gelatos.
Does it taste like cherry?
It does. It
Yes.
does. It has a delicious aroma. It has a very nice cherry flavor. It's kind of a little reddish purple. It's delicious.
Okay, I need you to do me a huge favor.
Sure, what's that?
Okay, so I'm coming to your house in a couple weeks, and I need you to take a big bud of that, put it in a glass jar, seal it up, and save it till I get there.
I will do my best, but you know how I am with gelatos.
Damn you.
I know, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I'll try. For you, Chelle, I'll put it where even I won't remember where it is.
Perfect. Shoot me an email on its location and then delete your sent folder.
Okay. Well, you know me. I'll probably forget it as soon as I send it to you, so no problem. That'll work.
What are you drinking today?
Well, today I have made myself some sun tea. Pretty simple. Just some green tea in the sun in water. and I am enjoying it with a little bit of honey and lemon. It's very good.
Pshaw, pshaw. So I'm doing the same exact thing today, but see, I don't like green tea. Don't email me about how that's horrible, people. I just don't. It's black tea all the way. I love caffeine.
I also love black tea, but today I was feeling like a green tea kind of day. I went outside. The sun is finally out here in northern Pennsylvania, and everything is really, really freaking green and alive, and I'm loving it.
You're right, but the problem with everything being wonderful and green and alive right now is so isn't my allergy freak out.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
sound like a duck because I can only breathe out of one nostril today, folks.
Yeah, I did notice that almost everything in my backyard is
It's
coated in
yellow.
yellow. Yeah,
Yellow.
yellow powder. Everything. It's like on everything. And as soon as water touches it, it like becomes this sticky mess. It's
You first think, oh, if it rains, my car won't look yellow. Oh no, it's worse.
it's definitely worse.
And so aren't my nasal passages, just for the record.
So you're drinking a little tea for medicinal purposes today.
I am, because I need to breathe.
Yeah. Well, while you struggle to breathe over there, let's talk about this first book, Houseplant HortOCCULTure by Devin Hunter.
This guy kills me because throughout the whole book, he tries to convince me that I'm not going to kill these things. He hasn't met me.
Yes, but I have to say that while we were reading this book, you did text me, and I
I
am
did.
now cultivating some clones of a couple of my plants at your request.
You're right, but you also have to be fair and tell the people that they are a plant that pretty much is the hardest damn thing to kill on the planet.
That's true. I have a pothos plant that I have had forever. My mother gave me this plant when I moved to California forever ago. And she sent me this nice little housewarming gift, and it had this teeny tiny pothos in it. That plant, you've seen it. It is now like 15 different plants around my house. I have one here in my office that's a good 4 feet long. That's the original. And pothos like to be abused. They're okay if you they actually prefer it if you like ignore them and
That's
let them
my
dry
kind of
out.
plant, the one that likes to be abused.
There you go. But I have to say, Houseplant HortOCCULTure didn't just convince you to get a plant. It's a freaking gorgeous book.
Oh my God. Can I just say for future me, if I get a book, okay, let me rephrase this. When I write a book, I want it to be packaged just like this. I love the cover. I love the feel. I love the colors. I just love this book.
It is a hardcover book. It is a very good size. It's about journal sized, I would say, almost square. The pages are rounded. The edges are
I
rounded.
love that. I love that.
They're glossy, they're thick, it's full color. There are beautiful watercolor pictures throughout this book. The titles are in color. It's just a stunningly good-looking book.
It really is. It really is. It's just a pretty book.
I guess part of me was like, okay, well, you're pretty, but what have you got inside? When I started,
Is the meat worth it?
and shit, it delivers.
Damn it, it is. This book is every damn thing that you want it to be. Okay, people, if you don't believe me, I literally asked Laylla to get me spider plant clones. Okay.
She did, and she does not do indoor, I wouldn't say hate, but she does not do indoor houseplants.
But in my defense, back, I don't know how long ago this was, a long time ago, I did have a spider plant that I kept for 5 years before I murdered it. And I murdered it partially due to a move. So I know that I can keep a spider plant at least for a chunk of time. So we're going to give it a go. So Devin Hunter, you win. You win. We'll just see how long it lives.
We'll see. We'll put pictures up on socials once she gets these spider plant and pothos. We'll start the countdown then.
Oh my God, I'm going to document it just like I do my grandson. Here we go.
And the countdown will begin to how long it lives. But this book has information. It's well written and interesting to read. It does not read just like an almanac. Devin's a captivating writer and a very personable writer.
And just for the record, this is all for like indoor plants. This is not about your garden and stuff like that. This is all like indoor plant related.
Right. This isn't your traditional garden plants like,
Right.
mint or chamomile or lavender. These are your
Right.
indoor house plants
These are house plants.
and
Yeah.
how to use that energy in your magical practices and what the correspondences are of your house plants.
I was going to say, you know what I loved about it? Because like half the book is like awesome correspondent information. Here's a tarot card
For
for
each
every plant.
plant. How cool is that?
So that's where he kind of, now you're speaking my language, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of gives you some associations, elements, planets, zodiacs, minerals. I like that. For me personally, I like a book that is part information, part resource. And this book, spot on. I feel like the first half of the book was the information and the second half was the resource. And I love
Yes.
that. I love those kind of books. And this was definitely 5 out of 5 brooms for me.
I learned some new types of divination in this book. He talks about variomancy that I had never heard of before.
We won't even go into the new stuff I learned.
That's divination using brand new leaves as they come out of the plant, judging by the way it's striped or the way it looks.
That sounds like one of those things that you're gonna like totally pick up and run with. And the next time I come to your house, you're gonna be throwing damn leaves at me doing divination.
Probably. Yeah, more than likely. I also really liked he talks about finding your green name, like a magical name, but specifically for plants. And I thought that was really cool. You know
Me
how
too. And mine's death.
Yep. I think you should pick a different one for this new phase. Sometimes you need to take on a new name to kind of
Okay.
help you embody those new qualities. So maybe you need like Green Gaia or something as your new name to embrace your houseplant having self.
We're gonna see. Devin, challenge accepted.
If you have any tips, Devin, please email us at backonthebroomstick@gmail.com. Shell needs them. As a green witch, I do have plants in my home, and especially in my magical space, I have plants all around, and it does help me feel connected even when I'm inside. I feel much more grounded. I feel closer to magic. I can feel the energy of living things. And as you know, I've talked before about growing cannabis helped kind of make me a green animist witch because that plant is so alive. You can feel that. And Devin talks about that too in the book, that you can feel the spirits of these plants and connect with them.
Now, I don't want to jump ahead to different books, but one of the books that we're reviewing today, they actually talked about in the introduction their first time speaking to an aloe plant. And that kind of goes right along with what you're saying right now. And they are their own being, which is why I feel guilty killing them. The irony was not lost on me, though, that I am not a good plant person, but yet I'm an herb witch. So that was part of the reason I decided to give it another go because he kind of made me feel a little guilty. I can do it. I can do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know you can. That's why I'm going to give you a couple of my babies. All good. So definitely 5 brooms.
Now, I do have one itsy bitsy teeny weeny criticism for the non-plant smart person like myself. He was using more scientific names instead of tell me what I'm going to find it listed under when I go to Trader Joe's or to Home Depot or to Lowe's. Like some of them are the more scientific names.
Yeah, I found in the lists, he definitely listed them by their scientific name. And in the body, he would talk more about
Right, right.
the name. So it would be nice if in the list that was there too. That's a good point.
Yeah, so that you did, if you like, if I want to read up on a spider plant, I can just jump to spider plant instead of having to kind of decipher through a bunch of different ones.
Yeah.
He should have the scientific name and then the common name next to it. My only incy bincy teeny weeny criticism. Otherwise, I love this damn book.
Okay, so the next book that we have on our list is Herbal Magick, A Guide to Herbal Enchantments, Folklore, and Divination by Gerina Dunwich.
This is another book that I love the look of it and I love the feel of it. Another small hardcover, got some beautiful greenery on it, but I've got to say this was not my favorite book. I I was kind of confused with some of the folklore Some of
Yeah.
it didn't all add up to me, but I did like the divination piece. That there's a section on divination, but this was not my favorite book. I'm not gonna lie.
So this book was written in 2002, and the copy that I have was republished in 2019. So you would think at that time that they would have known better. But in this book, she has a whole chapter dedicated to Romany spells, but she doesn't call them Romany or Traveler. She uses a word sometimes called the G slur.
Really?
People don't say that word for Romany or Traveler people any longer. So the whole chapter should change, and some of the spell names as well. And I was kind of sad because there's a shit ton of good information in here. I found that the herb section was a little lacking. I mean, she just lists the herbs in some very superficial correspondences, like the planetary ruler and the elementary ruler. Folklore and stuff was really good, but I'm going to need to look into it just a little bit more before I make a full decision.
I mean, there is some, like I said, I did kind of like the divination piece, but like there's also, I mean, she gives kind of the plant type, the planetary ruler, the elemental ruler, and that's valuable information. But the book as a whole, I don't like, but there are pieces to it I like.
When I first started reading it, my notes here even say so much info because at first I was impressed with how much folklore and I was like, wow, this is all brand new. I have never heard of this. This is amazing folklore info.
Right.
So I don't know. I am not entirely sure about this book. It's just there was a few issues as I read through it. There was the outdated term for Romany people that was used repeatedly. There's references to hoodoo work, and I don't know if she is a hoodoo practitioner or not. And just a couple other small things. It's very heteronormative. All the references are to women finding their husbands, and it's a little Christian leaning. So just a couple small complaints, but overall it was an okay book.
But is it from valid source? Yeah, that's the problem. Like I said, I like the tables and the correspondence parts, but I like some of the divination ideas, but I'm not sold on the folklore.
Yeah, and she even says in the beginning, in the foreword, that when she began publishing, they would ask her where the sources of certain information was. And she says, quote, "Well, my personal experience written down in my big book of herbal stuff with pressed examples of plants in it. How do you want me to attribute that?" And on the one hand, I appreciate that greatly. This is your personal experience and information. And I think information like that should be presented as such and is definitely good information. But I would also like to see other sources, particularly for the folklore, to back it up.
Or title the book differently. You know what I'm saying? Like if this was my personal interactions with Herb Magic, then
Sure,
I would
yeah.
totally get it 110%. But I can't get past that folklore word.
Yeah. I did like she also had two different types of divination using herbs in here that I had never heard of. She had I'm totally gonna mangle this. Cosmomancy, which is divination using the ashes from burning herbs, which I thought would be very cool to use, especially with cannabis.
That would be fun, yeah.
If you have rolled a joint as a spell and are smoking that as part of your ritual or your spell work, reading the ashes as it falls from that ritual joint would be a very cool thing to do, I think.
That just made me think of how many times I forget to ash my cigarette and it drops on me. So I'm apparently doing divination all the time when I'm smoking a cigarette.
And honestly, I have seen witches before and have been asked by witchlings when the stick incense, sometimes it'll burn weird, it'll curl, or the ash will fall, or your loose incense might burn in an interesting way.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's cosmomancy.
So yeah, like those pieces of this I love because of course you and I, going back to horrors, we are divination horrors. We love
Yes.
every form of divination, and that is the one thing that pulled me into this book.
Yes. One more type of divination I wanted to mention since I'm puffing on my cherry gelato here. Capnomancy, which is finding omens in patterns of smoke. So again, as you're smoking your ritual herbs or you're drinking your ritual tea, the smoke patterns as it comes up from that, you can find omens in that. If you go into it with the mindset that you are going to do divination with the smoke and the ash, then that'll work better for you, I think, rather than just randomly being like, oh, that smoke looks like a flower. I'm going to get flowers today. Divinations like this setting and intention are usually very important beforehand.
Oh my God, when we get together, can we do a smoke and ash divination try it episode?
Oh, hell yeah. Does that mean we get to smoke a lot of herbs and cannabis and then
I have a specific herb in mind.
All right. Yes, it's a date. We can definitely do that. We will do some cosmomancy and some capnomancy.
Why can't we just call this ash divination? Why does everything have to have a omancy? We're not good at
I
pronunciations.
don't know. It's a good question. So I'm not entirely sure about this Gerina Dunwich book.
I'm gonna go out of 5 brooms, so I'm gonna go 2.5.
I'm going to go 2.5. I'm going to say pending future research because
Right.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know it's accurate enough. I don't know if some of this is accurate enough that I don't want to go and be telling people to go rush right out and buy it.
Exactly. So I'm going to say a cautious 2.5 because it is interesting. There is some interesting information.
But there is some that, yeah. If any of you guys do ash divination or whatever the fancy
Or
word is,
smoke divination.
or
We want to
smoke
see
divination,
pictures.
send us pictures because we want to see this.
Or post it in our Facebook group. We have like 300 people in there now.
I know, I can't believe it. Thank you guys.
There's a wonderful group of people, lots of good questions, information, discussions. So for sure, post your pictures there, hop on over.
And we even stop in every once in a while and we post and or comment.
We do. I'm super shy, guys. So just to let you know,
I respond to people on the regular.
I know you're awesome. I'm so glad you do because I am like wicked shy, but thank you all so much. You guys are great. I love that group.
So this book, whoa, the Magical Herb Compendium, Correspondences, Spells, and Meditations by Aurora. First of all, this book cover is gorgeous. Can we just start with that?
It is. I love the art.
love
It's
it.
very nice. Reminds me of the sun card in tarot.
It really does. This book, I really this spoke to my heart. I liked this book. I don't know if it's how she wrote it, the information in here, but I really liked this book. Um, and I like how she goes into the history of magical herbalism because you don't find that in a lot of books. Albeit brief, I wished that if she was going to go into a full history of the magical herbalism, that this book was like 6 inches thick. But she did a great job with that. And I like how she goes through the herb use by different civilizations as well. The Sumerians, Egyptians, Indians, Chinese, Greek. I loved that because different cultures use different things in different ways. Does
Right.
that make sense?
It
I said
does.
different a lot.
I really loved this book. It okay, I'm going to say admittedly to my mind it was not as personably written as say Devin Hunter's book or Amy Blackthorn's book. It was more written like a an almanac. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it was less fun, quote unquote, to read, but damn, it was packed full of information. I very much loved it, but I just didn't think it was quite as personable to read as the
I
other.
get you. I get you. It's almost like Devin wrote that book to me personally. He was like, "Dear Shell, this is how you're going to do this."
It's such a
Where,
fun book and so filled with his personality and easy and
whereas
fun
this
to
is
read.
kind of, I don't want to say it's more like textbook,
It
but
is.
it's presenting information, not trying to have a conversation via book.
Right. And but at the same time, it is still
Good
interesting.
information.
Yes, tons of information and still entertaining and still filled with practical anecdotes and good things like that. So I'm not saying anything bad about this book, just that it's written more like a well-written textbook and less like a personal conversation between you and Devin.
I did also like she did a section on wild crafting your herbs.
Yes.
I liked that as well because that's kind of where people generally seem to first start with their herbal journey is going and picking shit out in their yard or out in their neighborhood or in their general vicinity and going from there. So
Right. And
I
how do
like
you store that? How do you
right.
dry it? How do you take care of it? It's all in here.
Do you put all this in Ziploc bags and hope for the best? So
Right.
I kind of like how she talked about collection, or she
Hmm.
calls it, wild crafting plants and herbs. I like that was added in because I did feel that there's not a lot of information about that out there. people kind of present their information with a picking up from, now that you've got it, this is what you
Right.
do with it.
You already have it dried and packaged. Now here's how you
Right.
put it in a spell.
And this starts from, I'm walking into a field and I'm
Right.
picking things and plucking things. Now what?
I also really loved when she talks about something called the doctrine of signatures. And
Mhm.
you and I talk about this in a different way. We call it like for like magic. The doctrine of signatures is basically the idea that how a plant looks gives you an idea of what it does, what its medicinal and magical properties are. And we talk a lot about things being like for like say, you would put honey or sugar in something to sweeten it, to bring nice things. Or you'll put lavender in because it's very soothing and calming if that's the type of thing that you want. So the doctrine of signatures is that what a thing is like in the mundane world is what it's like in the magical world as well. And so I very much related to that. So I liked how she presented the information in here.
And I must say, I had never heard of this author before, Aurora, but fan freaking tastic. Fantastic.
Great book.
I'm definitely going to give this book 5 brooms.
I will definitely be going back to over and over again. It has excellent correspondences.
Like I said, my only complaint is I wish it was about 6 inches thicker
I love how she has a spiritual anecdote for each herb.
for
Like,
everyone.
yeah, like I said, it's not as personably written, but there's still personal information.
What did she go over? Like 92 different herbs, I think it
Yeah,
was.
it's a lot. Cannabis is not in here. I'm just going to put that out there right now. It's my personal pet peeve. Cannabis is not in any of these. I looked.
Please file your complaint at.
That's right. I'll be sending a notice to the director of Llewellyn and no, I won't because they all have their own cannabis books. I'm just saying. I have a beef with the herbalists not putting it in there. It's a magical herb, man. Come on.
Well, you can't have it all.
I'm trying to have it all. It's not working.
So let's move on to our final fabulous book here.
I have to say this one tied for my favorite.
I know, right? We've got Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, the Green Witch's Guide to Essential Oils for Spellcraft, Ritual, and Healing by the freaking fabulous Amy
Amy
Black.
Blackthorn. We love her. She's so
This
great.
book took me aback for a minute, and that was my own fault. And it has nothing to do with the book. It's just me not reading clearly.
What happened?
I have never, as much as I do the herb thing and have been an herb witch forever and a day, I've never really been an oil person, an essential oil person, usually because it makes me itch, to be honest. I don't know why, but I really loved this.
Yes,
Like,
so
she's got
good.
some freaking good info. She goes through some fact-checked lore here. Like, this shit is rock solid good lore.
Oh, this stuff is great. The recipes are fantastic. I just wanted to try all of them. Every single one I looked at, I was like, oh, yeah, that looks potent. Oh, yeah, that's going to work.
It was written in a very right now, today kind of way, which I liked. Because you know how some books make it sound like you're reading some tomb from the 1600s? This was very modern and very, I don't know, very today, and I liked it.
I do have oils. I have some sitting right here because I've just been making spider and wasp spray to like spray around my house to keep
Right,
them all
right.
away. I'll put a recipe for that if you guys want to know it. It's mostly like geranium, lemongrass, and rosemary. So I'll put a recipe up there. But yeah, so I've been using a lot of essential oils lately, mostly to keep bugs out of my house. So I was very happy to look through this and see all sorts of other uses for the oils that I have in my magical cupboard.
Now, again, she's got a lot of great correspondences in here, just like the other books, where a lot of these plants and herbs, their origin country. And one thing I just also want to mention, and this just dawned on me, we are not promoting any of these books as a medical whatever. Don't drink, consume, shove up, or rub any of this stuff without consulting your personal medical professional. Because Layla and I, there's a lot of things we are, but we are
Not
not
doctors.
doctors. I did want to mention that because, especially when we're talking about an essential oils book, make sure that you are not allergic, your pets aren't allergic, the PSA.
We're great witches, not doctors.
Right?
Keep that in mind.
Or veterinarians.
Not veterinarians either.
This book is chock full. I mean, we're talking, what the hell is this? Like 300 pages of goodness. That's the only way I can describe this book. 300 pages of goodness.
And it starts out, as you're reading it, it feels like you're talking to Amy. Amy's voice, I think, comes through this pretty well. And she talks about breath work. I like that, and she's a martial artist. So she knows about breath work, and how important that can be to your magical practice.
Right, right.
She does talk about smoke cleansing your home, and that smoke cleansing a home or using some type of cleansing in your space helps you to change the energy there. And one of the things that does is it makes negative energy harder to find you. Because if you've cleaned everything out and you have it all fresh and new, that bad whatever that somebody sent after you is going to have a hard time finding you. Think of you ever see one of those movies, Chelle, where somebody's running away from the law and they've got dogs after them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? So they run through the water or they do something to get the scent away from the trail so the dogs can't find them.
Stop telling people what I did in high school.
Think about that same thing. Think of the dogs as the magical, hex or, evil eye that somebody sent at you.
And the water is the purifier essential oil.
Right, as whatever you're using to cleanse your space. So now it can't find you as well, and so using oils in all sorts of different ways. I just loved all the different things she had in here.
Now I got a quick spoiler alert. Then I'm going to have to ask about. So the spoiler alert is we're going to have Amy on here. Yay! I'm going to have to ask her, because I did do some essential oils for a while, and just making them, my hands would start, and it wasn't just any particular scent, it was different ones. My hands would get itchy and stuff. And I'm gonna have to ask her if maybe maybe I was allergic to the base I was using.
Maybe it was the carrier oil. Maybe you need something different.
That could have been. But whenever I was even just making them, working with them, my hands would break out.
I like to use hemp seed oil. Obviously, I'm a weed witch. But I do also like coconut. I've been using coconut oil a lot because it's so nice. And usually people don't have a reaction to coconut oil.
Yeah, see, I was using grapeseed oil, I think.
We'll have to ask Amy. I'm kind of like you. I do a lot of herbal things, but I am definitely not the biggest tincture/oil/
Yeah, tinctures and oils, not necessarily my forte. You want something you can burn, smoke, or do whatever, I got you.
Tea out of, we're there. But tinctures and oils will have to defer to Amy. But gorgeous book. This is the biggest one size-wise and thickness-wise, I think, too. It feels hefty. It's knowledgeable. It has herbal information. It has recipes. It has spells. It has folklore.
It is literally the A to Z of essential oils.
And it's good to read. It's fun to read. It does not read like a textbook. This one very much reads like someone's personal grimoire.
Yeah. Like you're having a conversation.
Yeah, with a super intelligent herb witch. Damn.
Right?
That's good stuff. And of course, my favorite rosemary is in here. But magical correspondences, all sorts of stuff that you would put, it looks like something you would put in your Book of Shadows. It has a little sketch of the plant, all the different correspondences that you might want to know about it, and then a recipe using it. It's just a good solid book.
She does go over, if it's not something that you have been doing and you're looking to get into, she does go into things like, how to purchase, how to blend your own, and basically safe use, which maybe that's where I went wrong. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what to buy. She tells you, read the book.
Mm-hmm. In conclusion, Devin Hunter's Houseplant HortOCCULTure.
Oh, wait. Before we in conclusion, how many broomsticks you giving it?
5. I love it. 5. And as usual, everyone, please keep in mind that the broomstick rating system means nothing, has absolutely no value in the real world, and is subject to change at any given time.
We just like it. And sometimes their broom rating is between 1 and 5, and sometimes it's 1 and 10.
Subject to change without notice.
House rules.
That's right. House rules.
Overall, 3 out of 4 kick-ass books. 1 good info, but I don't want to vouch for it.
But the rest of them, great books. I love having all of these here. The Magical Herb Compendium by Aurora, fantastic textbook, lots of good information. Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, she's just cool. There's so much there, so many recipes, so much good stuff. Devin Hunter, I mean, I wish I knew this guy. I'd love to be his friend.
Yeah, he's going to see me post updates here on this damn spider plant. He's going to be like, yep, I give up. I'm done.
Hopefully you can. But yeah, I was very happy with these books.
And I would like to, quick before we forget, give a huge thank you shout out to Llewellyn Worldwide and Red Wheel Wiser publishers. So thanks, Red Wheel Wiser. Thanks, Llewellyn.
So if you have a book you'd like us to review, a tarot deck, an oracle deck, although Chelle does not really love oracle decks, maybe you've got one you think she'll like.
Change my mind, people.
Send us your request at backonthebroomstick@gmail.com. We'll be happy to pull it into the solarium, kick up our feet and read it and do readings for each other and figure out what's going on in our lives. So let us know if you have something you'd like us to check out for you.
And with that being said, guys, we thank you for this episode of the Solarium. We hope that you were smoking and drinking as well. And check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Where else are we, Layla?
Everywhere. We have our own website, Back on the Broomstick. We have the discussion group. And I would like to send a big shout out, thank you to all of our benefactors. Thank you so much for everyone who has clicked that support the show link at the bottom of our show notes and has helped us to host these episodes, produce these episodes. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you. And to show that appreciation, we are going to do another drawing for a tarot reading for one of you fabulous people.
You know you want it, guys. The last one was fabulous, so let's do this again. I'm ready.
Check out the support the show link in the show notes if you want to get in on that. And again, thank you to all of our current benefactors. You guys are amazing. We'll do the drawing on Litha, June 21st. And don't forget, coming up on Friday this week is Chelle's birthday. The last episode of this month is on tarot birthday spreads to celebrate our very own Chelle and her birthday. So if you want to give her a shout out, say happy birthday, check out our socials. And as always, be wise, be wicked, and of course,
keep it witchy, folks.